take a minute while we're in it. Wait a minute, I don't want to leave.
I'm not doing it.
What is up, Shaylas? We are back, and we're singing in front of a local lake, and I'm here with another guest today. This is my cousin Joey.
Hey, yo.
Joey, tell them about yourself.
Like you said, I'm her cousin. We work at the same place, went to the same school. Unfortunately, we'll be parting ways after summer ends, but I'm happy to be a part of the podcast. Happy to be invited.
Heck yeah. Well, thank you for being here. Today, our topic is going to be, we're talking all things school, all things education. I thought Joey was going to be perfect for this because a lot of my best memories from school were made with Joey. We're super tight, and we're spending this summer together trying to get the rest of our time in because, like you said, we're going to be going to different colleges. First thing that I want to discuss with you is what was your favorite memory?
That is tough. Like, I was an athlete, so I was a part of the football team. My favorite memory, my freshman year, we went to this wing spot, and all the boys were like, we're going to eat 1,000 wings combined. So we all put down our plate. I was only able to down 10 of them. We have some big boys on our team. I was thinking, man, these guys got it. Those guys were only able to get like 20. So we ended up only getting like 400 wings.
That's so crazy, though.
We took a picture like it was some big flex just to lose every single game that football season following that. So the wing part, that's a good memory.
Yeah, there you go.
What followed, not very.
Yeah, so I mean, note to self, chicken wings are tasty, but they're maybe not the best for...
They're not a very good luck charm.
Yeah, okay. Is this the Applebee's incident?
It might just...
Because I do remember hearing about that.
I think it might just be the Applebee's.
Okay. And, Joey and I, we actually have an experience with the whole Applebee's wings because you know how they do the unlimited wings or whatever if you order, like, it costs a little bit more. Well, they've, like, flamboozled us into doing that one day, and we both ate, like, one plate, and they were like, dang, I'm full. And the lady still brought out another plate, and we're just like,
We were just sitting there. We didn't know what to do.
No, we had no clue.
We decided just to box them up and bring them home. I didn't eat them. Did you end up eating them?
I did end up eating mine.
Okay.
Like 3 days later when they probably should not have.
No, I threw mine away. I just felt so bad. I think I gave her like a $10 tip too.
Yeah,
I was just so
too,
guilty.
I was like, that's not really what we were supposed to do with those.
You should tip your waiters anyways, guys.
No, for sure. Yeah, throw back to the customer service episode. Definitely make sure that you're tipping and being good to those people providing you with service.
Exactly. I agree.
So, back on school, and again, like, these are memories inside and outside, and memories from our activities as well. With the good, what was one of your least favorite memories, or one of the parts of school that you disliked the most?
Sometimes the kids in the school are bad, but you can't overstate how bad the teachers are sometimes.
Yeah.
We had a substitute. She was the worst type of teacher. She wasn't able to talk to the students. She was just in her phone. If you were trying to talk to her, she'd tell you to go away. That was probably the worst day of my life because she was subbing for the whole day.
Yeah.
And I had this teacher like 3 classes. She just made it terrible. So I gotta say that's probably the worst experience.
Heck yeah. And I'm glad he kind of brought that up because he makes a good point. Is there's several different aspects, but one of the aspects about school is the teachers, is the mentors, and they can sometimes make or break the experience. And so one thing that I look for in a teacher is, can you interact with students? Can you make the learning fun? Because we all understand school is not always fun. The learning process isn't. But having a teacher that can foster that enjoyment for learning is super important. And I've had some teachers who are really great at doing that. And those teachers are the reason that I was able to be successful in school. And I mean, do you have any particular teachers that you can think of that really kind of made that, or even coaches that really made the experience for you?
Yeah. Our weights teacher, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He is the kindest guy. He is so hard on himself, but he's always asking, how was your day?
Yeah.
Anything I can do to help? What's the matter, man? He just always noticed when I was down. He always noticed, hey, something's not right. I need to talk to this student.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was just like that with me. I think he was like that with everyone.
Oh, absolutely.
And it made me so happy to see him putting in the effort, trying to be this good person, even though he was so hard on himself, and that made me sad. But
absolutely. And again, like he said, and I I know the teacher he's referring to. He is a good man, very involved in the community, very student-focused, student-oriented, always wanted the best for students and athletes alike, and was just very active in helping. And I actually had the pleasure of serving in a club, an organization with him, underneath him as one of his officers. And that was a great experience. He was a great mentor in that, and he really pushed me to do my best and pursue that. And so, Joey, you talked about sports. I know you kind of have your own story with sports due to injuries and other challenges, but would you mind discussing some of that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did baseball, track, football, basketball at my school. I was not very good, but I did them. My junior year, towards the end, I tore my ACL, my meniscus. It was a whole ordeal. I worked hard. I got back my senior year just for a JV game of basketball to take me out for the rest of the season. I did not get to do track. I did not get to do baseball, which was unfortunate, but it allowed me to reflect, and it helped me realize that just because I'm in high school doesn't mean I have to do the sports. It doesn't mean I have to do that. It's all about the memories, right? It doesn't have to be sports. You can join any other club. I was also a member of FBLA. Because I was out of sports, I got to focus heavily on that. Not only our weights teacher, but FBLA teacher. I love that man. He was awesome to me too. Yeah. I encourage everyone to at least try a sport, try a club, try to do something like that.
Absolutely. About the point in high school where I shifted my focus, for the longest time I was very academically oriented. I was very focused on grades, and I was my biggest goal. I threw everything else aside, and I said, nope, I just want to maintain a 4.0. I finally just let that go, and I said, you know what, I want to enjoy the experience, and I just want to have fun. And not only did I then begin performing actually better academically, but I was able to also have fun and participate in different activities, and I wish I had started doing that sooner.
Absolutely.
I think that's one of the things I wish teachers, mentors would push more. I know a lot of the times you get the whole, you guys need to focus on grades, keep your grades up, blah, blah, blah. But I also wish we pushed the whole, try things. Grades are not the most important. I know. People, you might disagree. Grades are not the most important thing. A B or a C here and there really is not the end of the world. You can still get into college. I promise you, there is a college for everyone. You can have the world's worst ACT score, the world's worst GPA, and there are programs to help you. And I'm not saying just go to school and don't try and don't show up. I'm not saying that either. But I am saying have fun. Take a B every once in a while. Just as long as you're doing your best. If you're putting your best foot forward and you go in every day with the mindset of, can I do a little bit better than yesterday? I promise you, school is going to be enjoyable and you will thrive.
Absolutely. Like she said, you need to, just because you're not the best student doesn't mean you can't try your best.
Yeah.
That's key. You may not get the best grades, but as long as you're putting in the effort and doing the best you can do,
absolutely,
that's all that matters.
Heck yeah. And so with that, Joey, what does your best look like? And you don't have to give us a full rundown of your report card or anything, but I just mean, what were the classes that you struggled with? What were the classes you thrived in? And then what did you do to overcome those academic challenges?
I'm not much of a math or science guy, so I gotta say my physics class, my chemistry class, and my college algebra classes were the absolute hardest for me. Mm-hmm. It's so hard to think it's so easy to think you have to do it by yourself. You have to do all this. That's what teachers are there for. If you have a good teacher, I turn to them. They helped with me with my studying. They helped with all that. My best advice I could give you is find a tutor, find a teacher. Yeah. They're there to help you. They're your support. You don't have to be afraid to ask for help. It's always there if you need it. Absolutely.
That's a fantastic point. And again, I actually, my senior year was the first time I had ever got any sort of tutoring or help. I really didn't struggle too much. Of course, I had occasional classes here and there.
Right.
I found through school, I really didn't feel very challenged and needed a little bit more. But it wasn't until I got to my senior year and I began taking dual credit classes that I was finally challenged. And one of the classes was a math class, and it was so extremely hard.
They all ended up dropping out.
Yeah.
just a spoiler.
All but one and myself. Everybody else ended up dropping out. And so finally, the other person and I, we just had to lock in. We actually sat down together one day and we were like, are we going to do this? Because it was pretty much, if you leave, I'm leaving too. Like, we were not going to just leave or one or the other hanging. And so we sat down and we put our heads and we said, okay, we're going to lock in. We're going to do this. It's going to suck. It's going to be hard, but we're going to find a way. And we dug our heels in. And sure enough, we started weekly tutoring, daily tutoring with our high school math teacher. And we pulled through and we both ended up passing. But again, I will say that experience alone really built a lot of character in me. I hadn't really experienced much struggle being challenged for the first time like that and having to rely on other people for help and having to learn how to ask questions was such a new thing for me. But I'm so glad that I experienced that, because now I'm like, as I'm about to go to college, I'm not afraid to email the professor, hey, Professor so-and-so, I got a question, I'm not understanding this concept. I guess my point to you guys listening is, do not be afraid to challenge yourself. And I know I probably say this at least once every episode, but if you're not challenging yourself, you are not growing as a person. I can tell you that right now. The best way to grow and become a better person, or become smarter, stronger, better, faster, is simply to challenge yourself.
But there is a difference between challenging yourself and having unrealistic expectations for yourself. Yeah. You need to be able to balance that. Like, I personally struggle. I think I should be able to do a lot more than I am doing right in this situation, or whatever. You need to be able to balance it. Be able to be like, okay, this is unobtainable. I'm never going to be doing that. Mm-hmm. But it's not a bad thing to split it up into smaller goals so you can maybe in the future get there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually easier to do in academics than in some other situations. It can literally be as simple as you study for 10 minutes the night before, and then maybe you do 15 minutes the next time, and you go in for tutoring. So set those small goals. Again, first, like Joel said, figure out if that's attainable. Is that even possible for you to do? And if it is, then set up an action plan. Set up goals that can help you get there. But that's how some of my nights went. I think about senior year, I got really bad with procrastinating, and some of that was due to burnout. But it was one of those things where it was like, okay, I will sit down and I will go over my math notes for 5 minutes. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but at least I got into them for 5 minutes. That was better than just not looking at them at all. Right, yeah. Kind of moving away from that, but we'll continue on with effort is, what do you think are the biggest principles or skills that you have taken from high school that you think are going to be most helpful, most beneficial to you in college?
I think developing strong problem-solving skills, or being able to work my way out of a situation, is probably the strongest skill I've learned.
Heck yeah.
I don't know if that's necessarily the most important. I think the most important is being able to work with others. You get put in these groups in elementary school and you're like, but I don't like this guy, man. Can I please get out of there? It goes up to high school. You still get put in those groups with those guys you don't like. But the teacher doesn't let you switch. He doesn't let you get in the group with your best friend. That's important. You need to be able, in a work environment, you're not always going to be able to work with your favorite coworker. Yeah. Or you're not going to agree with every boss. But if you can at least work with them efficiently and effectively, it'll make your life so much easier.
Absolutely. And just like you said, that is something you will experience in every aspect of life. You will always have to deal with someone or work with someone that you don't care for, that you don't get along with, and it's so important that we can do so civilly. I can think of many times at work even where I had to work with individuals that I didn't get along with, and that was something I had to overcome. But I think because of school and because of learning how to problem solve and practicing conflict resolution, I was able to do better at work. Now, I will say there were times where I was probably screaming obscenities at people, and I probably should not have been. I'm not going to say I was perfect, but I will say usually we all walk out in one piece with our heads still attached to our neck. Nobody was slicing each other's heads off with a katana.
Absolutely.
I don't even think we're allowed to have those at where we work. So, but every once in a while I would bring a grenade in and I'd plant it underneath the fryers and just see,
Wait, what?
What? No, I'm just kidding. No grenades. No, seriously. Practicing conflict resolution is so important, and I'm really glad Joey brought that up, because that's a great point.
But there's this kid at our school, refused to shower. He stinks. He just would argue every single day. But you have to be put in a group with this guy sometimes. Yeah. No one liked it. You had to work with it. I find it easier to work with people whenever you're more agreeable, you're more respectful. So that's how I kind of deal with situations. How would you personally deal with stuff like that?
Yeah, so my biggest thing, and as somebody who's looking to go into law enforcement, but also just looks to be better with people, is I always believe in when you're doing any sort of conflict resolution or trying to handle a situation like that, going in with compassion and understanding. It's so much more helpful than people realize. I think there's two ways to fight a war, and you can go in guns blazing, or you can go in with the true idea of peace, and you can simply use words. I've never seen a fist fight truly resolve anything. It usually just leaves more tension and more things
Makes people
unresolved.
angry.
Oh, absolutely. Versus simply just sitting down and having a civil conversation can literally be the difference.
And don't get us wrong, there's always going to be that person that won't try to hear you out and will be
absolutely.
stuck in their ways.
Oh, yeah.
But that doesn't mean you have to be that person.
No.
You can be the kind person. You can be the person who listens and has compassion for
Yeah.
others. You don't have to be the person who's just seeking an argument.
Absolutely. A lot of great points there made by you, Joey. And so I am going to kind of switch gears a little bit. So we kind of talked about the social and the academic aspects of school.
Right.
But I really want to focus on an aspect that was very prominent at our school. And I don't know if all schools are like this. Very sports-oriented, very sports-focused. And we kind of talked about Joey's situation with sports and the challenges that he overcame and how he handled that. But I do want to kind of zoom in and focus on this because I know that there's probably so many athletes out there who might feel these things and it just doesn't get talked about. I'll actually be very honest. I did not play any sports my senior year. I had played sports from the time that we first could in 5th grade all the way up until my junior year. Was very active, very involved. And then senior year, I ended up just kind of sitting down and saying, I wasn't going to do it anymore. And I had a couple injuries. I'd been dealing with some mental health stuff and was just really busy with college work, honestly. And those also influenced my decision. But I think I just truly lost the love for sports, and I really hate that. And that's something I kind of want to talk about with you in this segment is, why are sports pushed the way they are? What are your opinions? Like, I'm looking specifically, we'll just use our school and our experiences for reference. But what are things that you think our school could have done better with athletics? What were the main issues you saw? I mean, several come to my mind, but I really just want to hear from you since you were way more involved with athletics
Absolutely.
than I was.
As someone who didn't get to start in all those roles, I got to be like, and I would say outsider a little bit.
Yeah.
I did start a little bit of football, so I guess I'm reaching a little bit. But if you wanted to be, and now this might sound a little harsh, if you wanted to be seen as a popular kid, you did a sport. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to be seen as one of the cool kids, you did a sport.
Yeah.
Which I think is total BS. I think you don't have to do a sport to be popular. I think you should just do what makes you happy.
Absolutely.
And if that's playing a sport, fine. But I don't think it should be pushed as hard. And like, I know a lot of students did it, but even a few teachers and coaches, they made you feel like crap if you didn't do a sport.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I get if you see the 6'5" kid and you assume they play basketball, that's
Yeah.
reasonable. But you shouldn't make them feel so guilty and so bad if they don't or can't.
Yeah.
I feel like it's too pushed upon these days.
Absolutely. And it was one of those things, a lot of teachers doubled as coaches. I think it might have actually been like a rule by the state, like in order to serve as a coach, you had to be affiliated with the school in some way. And so,
I'm not certain, but I think you're right on that.
Yeah. So a lot of our coaches doubled as teachers, and there were teachers that would literally give special treatment to the athletes that played for them. And
Absolutely.
I'm like, you are a part of the problem. Like, just because, we'll say Brandon, I don't actually know anybody named Brandon, but just because Brandon won't play on your football team does not mean you have to treat him that way. And I'm not saying our football coach was like this. I'm just saying.
Not every coach was like
not every
this. Don't
coach,
get us wrong.
but there were some where it was like, well, you're not going to play for me, so I'm going to treat you poorly, or I'm not going to treat you the way I would the other students. And that is so terrible, and I wish we would not see that again. And that doesn't just happen at our school. I'm sure that's other schools too. But that was so sad to me is...
Right.
Everybody, and I kind of say this a lot to people, is everybody has their niche, and nobody should be punished for not having a certain... for not liking a certain activity or something like that. And so... I hope something that we see decrease and we see less of, especially since we both still have siblings enrolled in high school. And so I'm hoping to maybe see that change and see that not be so normalized, because I think at the point we were at, it was very normalized. Like,
absolutely. It might have been even worse before we got in,
oh,
honestly.
absolutely. I absolutely think it was. And
I remember my freshman year specifically, I was getting shoved into like actually pushed against lockers because I wasn't the best at the sport I was playing or something like that. And that's with me being on the team. I couldn't imagine not being on the team and having to face that.
Oh, absolutely. Something that I think needs to be addressed is I look at our alumni who were very active and very involved in the sports, and I look at where they're at now, and I'm thinking, what did you really get out of being so athletically focused? And I mean, I'm talking like your true like sports jockeys, like the ones who they couldn't give a rip about their schoolwork. They didn't really care. They just kind of half-butted
the ones
their
that just
stuff.
scrape by.
Yeah, but we're really, really athletic and really good at sports, right? And I look at where they're at now, post high school, and I'm like, you didn't really get a whole lot.
And we're not talking about those people that like physically struggle to learn, they can't learn. We're talking about the ones that could do better, decide
just
not to.
Just didn't apply themselves. Yeah, and some of that was because they focused so heavily on sports and they didn't give very much energy towards their academics. Be a student athlete, and you had some people taking the student out of student athlete and just being the athlete. You have to find balance. You have to be able to apply yourself in both.
Absolutely.
And that's not always easy. There's going to be bad days where you come into practice and you're tired or you have a bad game. I hope to see more coaches push their athletes to not only just be a good athlete, but be a good student as well. And I think we've kind of gotten away from that, especially at our school. And another thing that kind of reminds me of is how our coaches are no longer really focused on taking care of their athletes, both mental health but also physical health. I remember the talk we had in the locker room. If you get hurt and you have to go get a doctor's note, he's like, make that disappear before you come to practice. He's like, you don't have to bring that in here. Essentially saying, I don't care if you're hurt, as long as I don't see the note, you can play.
Which is
and
a no-no.
you're going to play. Yeah, very, very wrong. And actually, I actually, again, I took that to heart, and I ended up doing that. Yeah, no, really bad idea. I ended up getting a little bit more hurt than what I was when I began, and also my parents were furious, and they didn't understand. They didn't understand my motive for doing that. They're like, Lily, that is so stupid. That is so careless. They're like, why would you ever do that? And at the time, I didn't have it in me to be like, well, coach said. I didn't say that. I didn't want to get my coach in trouble, right? And so, for weeks, my parents were so upset, so disappointed in me, because they're like, how could you do this thing? Like, how could you do this to yourself, and get yourself hurt like this? And in my head, it was like, well, I was doing what my coach told me to do, and there was so much cognitive dissonance there, and that was really, really hard to deal with. And at that same time that I was dealing with physical health issues, I was also dealing with mental health issues, because I remember I'd get up early in the morning, I'd go to whatever events I had to do prior to school, and then, oh, that is such a cute dog. Okay, that is not so sorry, guys. We just saw a pup. That is not a dachshund.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I was telling you, I didn't know. I don't know, he's very cute.
He is, and he looks like he's fluffy.
Anyways, to get back on point.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
I wanted to add something. I think coaches have lost how much influence they have over like students, athletes.
Yeah.
I don't think they quite know how influential they are over people at occasion. If my coach told me to jump off a cliff, I probably would.
That's so real, though. I can think of countless times, and I was always the type of person, when somebody said something, I would take it to heart. Like, I took it very literally, and so I'm sure there was probably a little bit more nuance to my coach's whole spiel about, well, don't bring in the doctor's note. There was probably some nuance there that my little brain just didn't catch, because I've always just been the kind of person, like,
take things at face value.
Yeah, exactly. And so, again, this is not to throw any shade or any hate towards that coach, but I will say, I definitely think maybe that could have been phrased a little bit better, because I know I'm not the only athlete that took it that way.
Right.
There were several other athletes who would do things that hurt themselves, that would play on swollen, bruised ankles, swollen up like to the size of a cantaloupe. I had seen that. We had athletes playing while they had strep, while they were playing while they had the flu and were contagious. And that's never okay. And people kind of get mad. A lot of people kind of got mad when I would say this while we were in school, but high school sports are never ever that serious, and people will always get offended. They're like, well, yes it is. And I'm like, no, really? Is it really worth hurting yourself to the point that you may not be able to do a career in the future?
If you can't touch your toes because of an injury, you probably shouldn't be worrying about
Absolutely
playing that day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have to agree. Sometimes they just need to chill a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
To put it bluntly, I'm not saying every coach is like this. I just think if you see your athletes going through something physically, maybe even a little mentally, check on them. If they are not fit to play, don't let them play. It's part of your responsibility, too.
Absolutely. I will say one of the best coaches I ever had, and again, she will always hold a special place in my heart. She is easily the best coach I've ever had. One thing that I absolutely love and adored about this woman was she prioritized our rest. She built rest days and into our training schedule, and because of that, we were very successful athletes. I have never in my life performed to that degree. And again, I had played sports for years, and I think that was the most athletic performance that I have ever had, and it was as a result of her training, and it was also as a result of actually being rested and being healthy.
Right.
I remember, I'll never forget the day at practice where I had the worst shin splints. I mean, I was spending my nights in tears trying to scrape them out and fix that and work on that. And I remember I went into practice the next day and I was like, I'm coach, I'm so sorry. I am in so much pain. I can barely walk. And she said, okay. Me and the whole team went for a very, very light jog, and she actually cut it pretty dang short. And I know that is not what was on. I can tell you for that it was probably not what was on the practice plan. But I wasn't the only athlete on our team that was struggling, and so again, she cut our practice very short, very light, and then at the end, we simply focused on active recovery, yoga, stretching, and that was just so awesome to me. I had never had an experience with a coach that had done that. It was always go, go, go. I don't care if you're hurt. Like we're going 100. And so, and that actually fostered some really healthy exercise habits in me because again, avid lifter. I love running. I love being active. And so that actually kind of helped my relationship with exercise because I think high school sports really kind of hurt that. And that was really sad because exercising and fitness has always been very important to me.
Right.
But, yeah, so, again, sports, academics, we've talked the social aspect. The only other thing that I think might be important to address, but the last thing that I want to talk about is as we go into this next chapter, what is the college experience that you want to make for yourself? What do you want to see yourself do? What do you want to accomplish?
So, I know no one asked, but I'm going to college for elementary education.
Heck yeah.
I'd like to be that role model that we're talking about, someone who's willing to be there to help their students, stuff like that. I think that's important. I'm not an avid partier, so I'm probably not going to do any of that stuff at college. I guess I'm just kind of looking forward to a chill college experience, just to do my studies, do all that, get a job, work those. I guess that's all I'm really looking for in college.
Heck yeah, and that's awesome. This is just the beginning of an awesome story. This is just a brand new chapter, and I can't wait to write it, and I can't wait to see how Joey's story turns out because, again, awesome guy. Huge shout out to Joey. High school would not have been fun. I would not have enjoyed myself without him, and so what I will say is moving forward, I'm definitely not going to forget about him. We might be 3 hours away, but...
she already said she wouldn't visit me anymore, guys. Don't let her trick you.
All right. Grades will come and go. Sports, athletes, your body will come and go. But the one thing that you always have is yourself and the people who mean the most to you. And so I plan to keep them very close to me. Yes, I've been telling them all I'm going to ditch them and never come back. But that's a lie, Shayla's. I'm not going to be doing that. And so to kind of wrap up, Joey, you have anything else?
I know it seems scary. I know we kind of said sports are scary. Don't be scared to participate.
Absolutely.
Even if it's not a sport, join the art club, join the science club, do what fascinates you. You never know what will fascinate you. Try new things.
Absolutely.
You'll never regret trying.
Yeah, very well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. So with that, guys, thank you so much. If you somehow magically made it to the end of this episode, oh my God, literally, elite Shayla. I'm actually going to bump it up. You get 16 W's today. You got 14 last time, but you're getting 16
And you're
today.
very handsome and beautiful, and we love you very much.
Unless you're a muskrat. But I hope you do not, I swear, do not stub your toe getting into the shower tonight. Both sides of that pillow better be cold. If they're not, I will come physically assault the pillow myself. But thank you so much for listening, and we hope to catch you guys in the next episode.
Bye, guys.
Take a minute.